Welcome, everybody, to another episode of The Chatty Hosts. Your hosts this wonderful day is myself, Austin Smith, Karma, and Boy Team. And today's topic is all about trusting your divine timing and what that means for you. And we're really just going to give our intake on what we, think it is and how we process it.
I love this topic. It's such a fun one, and I think it allows us a lot of freedom within ourselves as well, and it allows us to step back and just trust in the process of life. I think it's very freeing.
And just to slightly touch base and explain what trusting the process is, I'd say it's the belief that everything happens in your life or occurs at precisely the right timing. We oftentimes tend to want things to happen when we want them to happen, and we forget that there's a higher power that is always in control.
I love that. Yes, yes.
Powerful.
And I think that's where the trust specifically comes in. I think as humans, we sometimes forget that we are divinely guided and here for our sole purpose or whatever it is that we each individually believe. But it allows us to understand that we're held here for a purpose. And I think that it gives us the freedom to just experience what it is we're supposed to be experiencing to prepare us for what we desire and deserve. And it's just that like ability to step back and be like, this is how it's supposed to happen.
Mm, yeah.
I agree.
And what I really wanted to just add in there is we need to pay attention to our relationship with ourselves when we're going through this, trusting the divine timing. And especially in our goals that we're, you know, putting forward and what we're wanting to achieve in this lifetime. I sometimes feel, and just for me personally, like sometimes I wonder, how come this didn't happen when I wanted it to happen? And then when I look at the when I look back now in my life, I've started to see like, I'm actually happy certain things didn't go the way I wanted them to go because, you know, somewhere down the line, you can just see how it would have not worked, it would have not served, and it would have put a lot of pressure onto me. And then by just seeing that, I'm able to kind of let go of that expectation of trying to do things perfectly and rather just focusing on the present moment. Because back in the day, I used to live in the future, and now I'm starting to embrace more of just sitting in the present and trusting that things are going to work out the way they need to.
I relate to what Austin is saying more because someone once recently told me that we tend to stress about the future so much and we forget that tomorrow is not promised or the near future is not promised. However, your main focus should be your current today and your next future, which is tomorrow. Those are things you fully have control over. Making sure that you're okay today, you're eating, you have a roof above your head today and tomorrow. As we speak about divine timing, the work that you want to play out will find its way to find to you into the future. I'm not saying sit down, not do anything, but the more you stress and put pressure on yourself about the future that you don't have control over, you'll drive yourself crazy. Main thing is to work on what you want to complete now and then allow the rest to fall into place.
I love that. And that really feeds in so much into like manifestations. There are multiple aspects to it. Firstly, it's the desire, then the action towards, the timing, the outcome of it and how it evolves and the readiness of when it is and yourself within that. So if you're not ready for what you're manifesting or working towards, it's not going to come about yet. Whether that's from an energetic or skill level or whatever it is that is preparing you for that. But I love what you said there specifically about the not sitting back because it's not about the action running towards it because the whole I don't have and I'm going towards is a rejection mindset instead of the I am preparing for what I deserve. And I love that. It's that taking the actions to create what you're creating and enjoying the process of that creation.
Yeah. And I did just want to add on to that. Like, sometimes again, we think we need, okay, like I can give an example. I finished school and then I wanted to go straight from school to university. And I mean, I basically planned everything. It was going to happen. I was like already accepted to this university at NMU, and things were going to happen. But then, unfortunately, a huge delays kind of hit me, and I had to take I call it a forced gap year. And when I look back then, I don't know if you guys remember, but remember in South Africa we had a huge fees must fall strike, and I mean that that disrupted a lot of people's university work, finances. It was hectic. And when I look back at it now, I'm so happy um, that there was that delay because, I know that deep down I would have been stressed out of my mind because A, going to university, renting an apartment, all of that would have cost me a lot of money. And when I look back now and where I am now, how I'm studying now, it's completely different and it's actually serving me more. I'm able to study and work and actually have a life and not live in this debt ridden society, if that makes sense. So just for the viewers out there, when certain doors close, you've got to understand that there's a bigger door waiting for you to open. So it's important again that we come back to yeah, exactly, but it's important again that we just watch ourselves when a door closes and and this is a nice observing time for us to really observe the relationship in which we have with ourselves. Because trust me, I completely thought I was a failure when this door closed. I felt low, I felt worthless. Um, but I learned so much in that time on how not to treat myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That is also beautifully said, like that whole coming back to self and trusting and just acknowledging your self worth. Because I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned specifically on this topic is understanding that things don't necessarily not work out because of something to do with you. It can literally just not be in your divine plan and literally just not be what you need. And the world, God, source, universe, however you reflect on this higher power or reason to be on earth, they do look after us ultimately. And they make sure that we stay on the path. Some of the lessons we have to learn, and those lessons we will learn. And then other lessons, they're just not for us. We don't need the drama. We don't need the difficulty. We don't need the resistance or that challenge that was there. And in actual fact, we're meant for something completely different. And I think we can all agree that none of us are on the paths that we thought we'd be. And spontaneously and strangely, things have definitely fallen into a better groove and more alignment than any of us could have ever believed was possible for ourselves.
Amen. No, 100% in agreement with that.
And just to add as well, Austin, you're more religious than us, more church going. But I believe there's a saying somewhat in these lines of before we were even born, God had a plan for our lives. And then I sit back at times and I ask myself, who am I to try think that I've got my life all figured out? Because as we said, we've all wanted different things for ourselves. Austin had a different plan of what it is to go to university and end up doing something completely different of studying. I went to school, I studied for something, end up not practicing in it. But however, as Karma did say that in the midst of it all, life perfectly works out how it's supposed to be. Because regardless of the fact that I did not practice in what I studied for, I'd find means and interest in other things that I never thought I'd actually be interested in. And that also just goes with not boxing yourself or thinking that because you have these plans for yourself, life is not going to come and waver and throw you offline. We need to mentally prepare for life to actually shake us a bit and be like, oh, you had these great plans, but hold up. Now this is falling into place. So what are you going to do about it? I think we mentally need to prepare ourselves to untake whatever struggle life throws at us and just make it work. Because at the end of the day, we might have a plan, but the universe, God, has a bigger plan for us.
I love that. Absolutely love that. And I feel like that really, really, like we've all really felt that in reality for ourselves when something hasn't worked out and then further down the line, information or something comes to light that either propels you even further than where you thought you were going or just highlights information that makes you go, oh, well, thank God that did not happen.
Yo, amen. Now listen, that is 100% truth there. Absolutely.
It's quite a fun one to play with as well.
So, ooh, I like how excited we're all getting with this chat.
Like, it definitely empowers you to see yourself more as in control. Or when I mean by that, like it empowers you actually to let go of things that we actually can't control, if that makes sense. We tend to hold a lot of expectation on how we should be getting on with our lives and how things should be unfolding, but we forget that life is a mystery. Life is so much more than what we comprehend it to be. Because again, just coming back to my example, the way I planned my life was pretty systematic. It was pretty boring, to be honest. And now when I look at how things are going, I'm living a more adventurous life. I'm learning so much more in what I'm wanting to be. And I think that's we must just never lose face on how significant and unique all of our journeys are. But look, not at all are we saying here on the podcast that this is an easy thing to do. Trusting the process and trusting the divine time is hard because you really put effort into what you're wanting to achieve and then it doesn't work. And this is so important to just understand that there's more at play than what we think.
um, just to touch base on what Austin said, there's something I saw on Instagram because I just also now self-reflected on something that recently happened. You guys know when I went for the cabin crew interview and I didn't get it. And I was so sure, I was 100% sure that I'm getting it. I was praying, I was affirming, I did the right things, went through the interviews, went to the last call. And then I did not get it. But how I handled that situation was more mature, I guess, of myself because I'd understand that just because one door is closing, as Karma did say, doesn't mean that it's closing because I wasn't good enough. It was just closing because maybe it wasn't the right time for me to go work in the cabin line, or there's another crew that I'm supposed to work with, or as I said, I was just not meant to be there right now with my life and time. Maybe something greater is coming, as Austin did say, one door closes and another one opens. And how to trust your own timing. Honestly, I've practiced patience, perseverance, and understanding that everything happens for a reason. Also not rushing things because who am I? And also putting in efforts as well as not comparing myself to other people. And also trusting the timing of my life and that everyone has their own clock. Everyone is on their time zone. My own lane, my own pace.
Yes. Yes, I love that. And I don't know about you guys, but I know personally, firstly, this is something I've taken, just to clarify for our audience, this is something that's taken a very long time for me to master. And I will admit that I still get deeply frustrated at delays. But I have learned that delays are unbelievable blessings. I have never in my life, after a period of time following a delay, felt regret or anger or upset because of a delay. Within 24 hours, within a week, sometimes even as long as a month, after a delay that has caused some distress in my life, have I been given the answer as to why. And at the end of that, I'm always like, thank you. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for re-guiding me. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for the lesson. Thank you for protecting me. Whatever it is in that situation. After every delay, there's always that moment of, I see. So yeah, I find that slowing down has definitely helped me with this. Being able to just not do anything in a rush. To just slow down, put my mental and physical health first, and trusting that ultimately everything that is meant for me is on its way, and that it's already here. The time just has not arrived for it to manifest into my reality, but it's here. It's already there. It's just like walking down a road. You're not going to get to the end of the road any faster. And if you run, you're just going to be tired at the end and not appreciate the end. So just take your time, slow down, and trust.
Listen, I love that, especially in today's society where everything is so rushed and so things have to be in by yesterday, where it's so important that we just, again, remind our viewers to take a step back, check in with oneself, and see where can I just breathe, and because when we take a step back and we observe what's going on, we're then going to be able to see where we need to put our energy in. But if you're rushing, you're not focusing on that. You're just looking at the end goal and you're not at all looking at the whole surrounding and what you're supposed to learn from all of this. So I really, I love that. That was spot on there.
Yay, I'm happy it helped.
And just also to add to what Karma was saying, that how delays can be blessings. I don't know if you guys have watched Benjamin Button, the movie. But anyway, in that movie, he speaks of how if everything was on time, situation would have worked out differently, because his former then girlfriend, or his hun, at the time got hit by a car, and that was based on a small inconvenience. Someone that was a couple of minutes late for something that inconvenienced the whole cycle. That person was late to get into their car, and now because they took forever to get into the car, they were late to get to where they needed to be. And this caused the fact that the lady that was stepping out of the dancing studio to step out at the wrong time. I don't know if I'm making sense, but she stepped up at the wrong time, because I'm trying to say is that one delay could end up to causing a bigger problem, because had the person stepped out at the time she said she'd step out of the house, the person would probably ignored the whole car accident. As to saying that sometimes if you're running late on things, allow yourself to run late, because, or if there's an inconvenience or something is holding you back at home and you're upset with your parents, like, why are they holding you back for a time? Maybe the universe is just withholding you back from something bad from happening. And instead of just complaining and whining about it, take time, allow things to fall in place or happen the way that they're happening. Because as you did say, Karma, sometimes things happen and you just be like, damn, I ran a bit late because I was avoiding that from happening, or doing like something worse from happening. I'm making any sense. Like I'm mumbling on my
Ah, yeah. No, you're making sense. It's like that whole conversation about it's either a lesson or a blessing, but either way, it's creating you and it's creating your reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
That's, yeah. Alrighty, what else do I have to add, girls?
There's one last thing I'd like to add before we wrap up the session, and that is a different interpretation of a quote that goes around often about how you must work smart, not hard. But I don't think that's even relevant at all. I don't think we should even be working smart. We should be working through desire. What brings you joy? Follow that, and it will lead you to exactly where you need to go.
Amen.
Yeah, work on what you want. Yeah, what's this whole like trying to um be a detective about it? Like it's focus on what you're wanting, not I'm gonna cheat the system, because again, smart can mean something completely different to another person. And we need to again rather look within. No, that is perfect. That's a whole different way of looking at it, because yeah, I've also heard that statement how many times, especially with in work related things, like, oh, work smart, not hard. I'm like, but no, it's more than that. It's more work on what you're wanting to achieve and what you want to give to this world.
Life is exceptionally short, and the purpose of life is to have a good time. So follow your joy, and if it doesn't feel good, it's not right. And that doesn't mean discomfort. That means if it doesn't make you feel accomplished, joyful, happy, like you're doing something meaningful, like it's filling your time nicely, then it's not serving you.
Well said. I think we should be done for the day.
All right, so that was us for this lovely topic. And I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Please share this with friends and family just to get the word out. And yeah, we will be giving you another episode in the coming week. So chat then.
Chat soon.
Bye.